Welcome to my madness, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be doing something that I meant to do like 6 months ago, okay? Right after the end of 2023, and that was to go through and just kind of rank every Marvel Legend that came out in 2023. Of course, I never did it. I put it off and put it off and put it off, and I wasn't going to do it, but then all these figures from last year over the course of the last few months have just been showing up everywhere at discounted prices at Target, at Walmart, at Ollie's, at Ross, online at places like Kids Warehouse. And you know what? Why not just go ahead and do it anyway? There were a lot of figures, a ton of figures that came out in the Marvel Legends line last year. Let's go through them and see which ones are actually still worth picking up now, that you can actually get a lot of these a whole lot cheaper than retail. Figured why not? Let's go ahead, run through it. And like I said, there are a ton of them. There's 137 releases total. Now, I'm not going to go through these individually, and what I mean by that is if it's a 2-pack or a 3-pack or a 5-pack or whatever, we're gonna judge it as just one pack, one purchase. We're not going to go through each figure individually. And we got our categories over here, how I had them set up. Must have a figure that absolutely you must have in your collection. If you're a Marvel fan and you love Marvel Legends, you got to have it. Solid. This means more than likely you want this in your collection. It is a solid addition to your collection. Don't already have. In other words, if it's a repeat or something like that and you didn't already have it, then yeah, it's worth picking up again. Otherwise, no reason to pick it up twice. Then there's, pretty much a pass, right? Like, it's not a bad figure, but, you don't really need it. It's not really going to add anything to your collection. And then there is turd, or otherwise known as dog shit, okay? Something that is just crap, and there's absolutely no reason anybody should buy this figure. We're just going to go through these as quickly as possible because this is going to take forever. So we're going to start off with Hawkeye here. I'm dropping this Ronin Hawkeye from the MCU collection into don't already have. I actually do like this figure. I'm not a big fan of the MCU figures, the live action figures, but I have a decent little collection, and I do actually like this figure, the original version, which I have. And I do think the newer version did add some cool face printing technology on the spare head. So I do think if you collect those, it is worth picking up if you didn't get the first release. All right, then we get to Ant-Man. Classic Ant-Man. I'm going to put him at solid. Now, I don't think he's must-have because there's so many different Ant-Man figures that have come out over the years. It may not be your favorite, but it is a good, classic-looking, 60s era Ant-Man. I picked it up. I think it's a great figure. It's fairly simple, but I think it works. I think it's a really, really solid addition to your collection, especially if you're kind of looking for what may very well be like the quintessential look for Ant-Man. All right, then we get to Spider-Man No Way Home Doc Ock. I think this is a great figure. I don't necessarily think it's a must-have. Some of you will disagree. I still think it's a really great figure. Now, I personally have chosen not to pick this one up. Just for whatever reason, it didn't interest me. But I still understand it is a great figure and well worth picking up if it is something for you. I don't know, just for whatever reason, I didn't decide to pick it up. Maybe I will. It has gone down in price. I see it at clearance at places like Target. Maybe I will eventually pick it up. But for now, I'm leaving it at solid. All right, then we have the Spider-Man Venom 2-pack. I didn't pick this one up either. However, I do think it's solid. I don't think it's must-have, primarily because there's just been so many different Venom and Carnage figures out there. And being that it's a 2-pack, you have to add more to it. And for me, personally, I would have loved to have had the Carnage, but didn't care about the Venom because I have so many Venom figures. And that's why I can't put it at must-have, because you may be just like me and decide, hey, I've got a ton of these, but not this one. But do you really want to pay the 2-pack price just to get the one figure? So again, solid. I think both figures are great, but not a must-have. Then we have what I feel is the first must-have figure that we're going to run into here, and that is the new Bucky Cap. This figure is amazing. It's great. We've only got one other Bucky Cap figure in the Marvel Legends line, and this is an amazing upgrade on that. I don't care if you have the old one or not, and I still love my old Bucky Cap figure, but this is an absolutely excellent update that is a must-have for anybody into Marvel Legends at all. All right, then we get to the kind of classic Guardians of the Galaxy Star-Lord. Now, I love this figure. Star-Lord, original Chris Claremont era Star-Lord is one of my favorite characters. So for me, this was definitely a must-have, but trying to be objective here, I would say it's solid. It's not the best figure in the world. It's fairly simple, fairly plain, but it gives that great classic look for this character that I personally love. Since it hasn't been released before, I'm not going to say don't already have, and it's certainly not a pass or a turd, but I can't really put it at must-have because you may not like Star-Lord the way I do, but it's absolutely a solid figure. All right, then we get to Miles Morales from Spider-Man 2. Again, I'm going to leave this at don't already have. If you don't already have a Miles Morales figure like this, and this is basically a re-release from the GameStop one that we got here. Maybe it wasn't even just GameStop. I don't even remember. We got a couple editions of it here a few years ago. It's basically just a re-release of that, which is a great figure, and that in and of itself I think is must-have, but not this one if you already have that figure, so we'll leave it right there. Then we get the X-Men 5-pack that has like Random and Strife and all those characters in it. Honestly, I'm going to put this at must-have. And I know that like Strife was already released. And it's not because this is a better version of Strife, because I don't think it is. Like, I think there's aspects of it that are better, but there's aspects of the last figure that we got, which is the only other Strife figure we've ever gotten, that were actually better. But just in general as a 5-pack, I think while it's, again, not the greatest 5-pack in the world, some of the figures are kind of boring, a couple of them, but I still think it's a lot of characters, many of which we've never gotten before. I think, in fact, all of them except for Strife we've not gotten before. And I think if you're an X-Men fan, like, this is absolutely a must-have. All right, then we get to our Avengers 2-pack. You know, Black Knight and Circe. Is this a must-have? It's at least solid. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and put it in must-have. You know, I know Circe looks like Courtney Cox and is not the greatest articulated female character, but it is a great comic book representation. It is that 90s look with the jacket and the laser sword for Black Knight. I'm a huge Black Knight fan. My personal opinion, it's a must-have, but I think it's at least solid. Then we get to Spider-Man. This is what's her? I don't even remember this chick's name. Who is this? This is which version of a Spider character? I love the movie. The movie's absolutely fantastic, but I'm going to be honest, I'm going to have to pass on this. This is not my preferred look for the character, even though I'm blanking on the name of the character at the moment. Yeah, it's an okay figure, but to me it's an easy pass. Then we get to Long Shot. Again, this is a must-have because we've only ever had one other Long Shot figure. It's fine for the Toy Biz era when it came out, but this was a very, very much needed upgrade. You have to have this one in your collection. Then we get to Dark Phoenix. This is a solid figure, except for the fact that I think that in some aspects the previous version was better. I do like the head sculpt a little bit better, but the colors are off compared to the previous version. So again, I'm going to say if you don't already have the previous version, this is a good replacement for that, but in many ways the previous version is better. All right, then we get to Avalanche here. I mean, we don't have an Avalanche figure before this. However, this is not a great figure. We can't put it in don't already have because we don't have one before. I have a hard time putting it in solid, but I have a hard time putting it in pass at the same time. I did pass on this figure because I don't think it's a great figure. I'm going to go ahead and put it in solid because I know a lot of people did pick it up, and I understand why, but it's not a great figure. Then we get to Spiral. Is absolutely a fantastic figure. One of the best figures of last year, by the way. One of the best Marvel. In fact, it might have been my number one in my top 10 Marvel Legends of the year. I don't remember. Absolutely fantastic figure. Spiral is great with the arms and all the accessories and just a perfect figure. All right. Wolverine in his classic yellow and blue costume. It's fine. We haven't had him in this costume since the 90s in the 5-inch line. So I can't say don't already have. I have him. I'll put him at solid. We'll leave him at that. And I got to say the same thing for Multiple Man here. Jamie Hydrox, however you say his name. It's solid, I guess. It's not a great figure, but, you know, whatever. Then we get to Deluxe Groot. I got to put him at pass. Like, it's okay, but again, I'm not big on the MCU stuff. And this is not my preferred look for Groot, even an MCU version of Groot. So I prefer the old Build-A-Figure. I think that's way better. So I'm going to put a pass on this. Not a bad figure, but we're going to go ahead and go with a pass. Then we get to some of these figures here. We're just going to put them all right here because these are all re-releases, and they're all fine. But if you have the original versions, there's really no reason to get these again. And that's all this Infinity Saga re-releases of, you know, the Mark II Iron Man suit, War Machine. I don't remember which Iron Man suit is. Is that like the Mark 86? We've got Winter Soldier, Captain America. We got Spider-Man from the first Spider-Man movie, Homecoming. We got Black Widow. I believe this one's from Winter Soldier. Those are all fine. They're solid. But if you already have them, there's no reason to get them. Then we have the Doc Ock Aunt May 2-pack. Where to put this? The Doc Ock is solid. I like the Doc Ock. Nobody was asking for Aunt May, but we'll still leave it at solid. This one's a little more solid for me. A little more solid. There you go. And this is the Norman Osborn Mary Jane 2-pack, and that's because we always like another Green Goblin. But I mean, Mary Jane is a much better character for your shelf than, you know, Aunt May is. So I think people were a little more excited about this 2-pack than the other one, but there we go. All right, Hawkeye's Kingpin. I'm going to put it at a pass. It was fine, I guess. I mean, and I love that version of Kingpin, but I don't really care about this action figure. It's a fairly boring action figure, and I gotta say the same thing with What If's Gamora from the MCU stuff. Although better, I think it's a clear pass. Like, not a lot of people are attached to that What If series. It's a great series, but like, it really doesn't connect to either the larger MCU, you know, movie universe or the comic books. So easy pass for me. Alien, or what's his face? What's this guy's name? Talos from Secret Invasion. This one's a turd. Absolutely, that one's a turd. And in fact, while we're at it, we'll go ahead and put Sam Jackson's Nick Fury from the same series. That thing's a turd too. And in fact, while we're at it, WandaVision. That one's a turd. Okay. Just get some of these turds out of the way here. All right, the Spider-Man 3-pack that took over a year to come out. I would put this at must-have. Now, I know it was re-released. We'll be talking about that. Trust me. And probably those re-releases are going to go in the same space. I think these are all three great, really good figures. I think they're must-haves for Marvel Legends collectors. Getting those three iconic movie looks, or specifically the two iconic movie looks. Absolutely think that's great. Then we got the Shield Hydra 2-pack. Again, this is a must-have. It is a great little 2-pack there. Absolutely love it. Great for Marvel Legends collectors. All right, then we have What If Goliath. Just because it's Goliath and it's something different, something we haven't gotten in the MCU yet, I'll put it at solid. I did pass on this one, to be honest, but I can understand it is a solid addition there. Same thing with Yelena here. I passed on it, but it is a solid figure. I think we've got another solid figure here with this, what is this, Astonishing X-Men Cyclops suit. I hope that's the right one. I can't remember, but it's solid there. White Queen, I'm a little torn on. It is a solid White Queen, so I think I'll leave it there, but it's not the greatest figure. It lacks an articulation. The cape gets in the way of the arms. I mean, there are problems with this figure, but it is an okay update. It certainly looks better than the last couple of White Queen figures we've gotten, so we'll leave it at solid. What's his face here? I have this figure. What is this guy's name from Starjammers? I'm blanking on his name at the moment. I have him, but I still kind of almost want to put him as a pass. Like, the best thing about this figure is that it comes with one of the Chode Build-A-Figure pieces, which was more the reason why I bought this guy than that. We'll put him at solid. I don't know that I agree with that. I will say that, what's this, St. Croix, what's her name? I'm blanking on her name. This is a great figure, by the way. By the way, For a Marvel Legends teams that hates having curvy women, they sure put some big knockers on this figure. Was it Monet St. Croix, I think is her name, from Generation X. They put she's packing there a little bit. I don't know how that one slipped by the QA department at the Marvel Legends team, but it did, and it is probably the best figure I think out of that whole wave. Then we get to Corsair, probably the second best figure in that wave, solid there. Then we get to this guy, the dude with the pink and the glasses. I don't even know his name. I have him, but only to finish the Chode Build-A-Figure. This is the only reason I bought this dude. Other than that, it's an easy pass. Then we get to Chamber. I debate on Chamber because the only reason I bought this guy, other than to complete my Build-A-Figure, was because I knew I was going to use him as a Ghost Rider Kit Bash. So is it a solid figure for that reason alone? Because I don't think it's a solid figure for Chamber. Like, I don't care enough about Chamber. I know some of you guys do. I get it. But as a figure, I think it only meets solid status because it's basically a Ghost Rider figure that you can do a head swap on. So we'll leave it there. All right, Rose. I think Rose is a pass. I'm going to be honest. I don't care about Rose. I know who he is. I know the character. It's an okay figure at best, so I'm going to give it a pass. This Ben Reilly figure, this new costume for Ben Reilly. You know what? I have the figure. I liked the figure. I gave it a good review, but I'm still going to say it's a pass. Like, it's not the suit anybody really cares about when it comes to Ben Reilly. It's okay, but I don't think people were really clamoring for this. And while I'm a huge Spider-Man geek, so I bought it, and I'm glad I did, I can't say it's a solid figure. And I got to say the same thing here for Ben Reilly's other, costume here. What is this guy's name? What does he call himself? I don't even know what he calls himself when he's in this costume. It's like Chaos, or maybe that's not it at all. I don't even know, but it's okay, but it is a pass. I mean, honestly, you don't need this in your collection. Now, this version of Spider-Woman, while I'm not the biggest fan of this costume, I prefer the traditional red costume, this is a really good figure. So I'm going to leave it at solid. I hope they re-release this figure in the traditional red costume colors, because I do like this figure quite a bit, and just for it being a great figure, even though it's not the costume I like, we're going to leave that one at solid. And I'll say the same thing for Tarantula here. It's a great update to that Toy Biz figure we got 20 years ago. I do like Tarantula as a character. I do think this is a good figure. This Miles Morales in his sweatshirt and half hoodie is an easy pass. Like, I've got it, but it's not the greatest figure in the world. Electra Daredevil, I think, is a solid figure. You know what? In fact, I think it's a must-have. I think that was a great figure. And we're gonna put that up there in the must-have stage. Then we get to some MCU figures from Ant-Man, Quantumania. These are all these ones from that movie are just they're turds. I'm sorry, they're not good figures at all. Okay. Then we get to Ultron. This is a don't already have. Okay. If you don't already have a good version of Ultron, this one's fine. Or if you just want it for some Ultron bots or something cool. But honestly, I think that's the only reason to get it, if I'm honest there. Then we get to, what's this guy's name? I don't even remember this dude's name. Dr. Egghead. Easy pass. Crossfire. I'm going to say easy pass on Crossfire. Some of you are going to disagree. I get it. But he just looks like a paramedic at this point. And I get it. That's the design. Then we get the future version of Ant-Man. Again, I'm going to say pass. I think it's fine. But it's not a must-have. I don't even think it's a solid figure. And because it's never come out, we can't put it in don't already have. So easy pass on that one. Then we get Molecule Man. I'm going to say that Molecule Man is a must-have. This is a great figure. It's not, it's a great figure for the character. It's a solid representation of just a good classic look for Molecule Man, who is, I think, a necessary character to have in your collection. Although it's not the best figure in the world, it's certainly a solid figure, but just because of the character, it's a must-have. I'm also going to say the same thing for Baron von Strucker here. That's a great figure. It's a really, really good figure. We get to Yelena's Black Widow. I'm going to say solid on that one. I'm sorry, but, pass on the old school 70s look for Wonder Man for me. Some of you guys are going to yell and scream about that, but I don't care about that look for Wonder Man. I just don't. Not 70s. Well, 70s and 80s. Around the time that the West Coast Avengers first started. I don't care about that look at all. Some of you do, but I don't. All right, then we get to Captain America, Ultimate Captain America. Must have. Absolutely must have. There's a great Captain America figure. Hands down. Then we get to our Iron Man. This is where I'm going to start getting confused. Which version of Iron Man is this? Mark whatever. That's, oh wait, is that, that's, what you call it? Not the Bleeding Cool armor. The, I don't even remember the name. No, it's a solid figure. I'm blanking on the name of this Iron Man armor. Somebody in the chat will remind me of what it is. Leave a comment. I can't remember. Is this, it's not bleeding. It's not the Bleeding Edge armor. It's the Extremis. Extremis. Thank you. I just remembered the name. Then we get to 90s War Machine. Definitely solid. That is a great looking figure like that, even though it's just a reproduction. Fantastic Four, the twins, the kids. It's solid. I don't think it's a must-have, though. It's solid. Then we get to PS4 Spidey. If you don't already have the previous one, which is better, by the way, then yes, get that one. But otherwise, there's no reason to upgrade there. Then we get our 2-pack here for Squadron Supreme. I would definitely say that's a must-have. Having their Squadron Supreme, I think, is great. Yes, absolutely, that's a must-have. Build up your Squadron Supreme. Then we get to the 2-pack here with Drax and his offspring there. I'm going to say solid. Not necessarily must-have, but then, look, it's just my opinion. Just my opinion. But I think it's cool. I think that 2-pack is good. It's good. It's solid. Both figures look good. I like the Drax. I wish they would have put her in her more traditional costume, but they didn't. Whatever. All right, Iron Man Mark 1. If you don't have the original, get this one. Otherwise, I'm going to tell you right now, the original Toy Biz one is better. It's not as big, and that's really the only downside to it, but the sculpt, the detail, everything else on the previous Toy Biz version is better, including the price, because you can get it really cheap. You can pick those things up really, really cheap. All right, we got 2-pack original Gray Hulk and Bruce Banner there. Solid. Don't think it's a must-have, unless you're a Hulk fan, in which case, obviously, it is a must-have. All right, then we get to the Skrull 2-pack here with the fake Spider-Woman Skrull and the Super Skrull there. I think it's solid, bordering on a must-have. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and bump it up to must-have. Those are two great figures. Then we get to one of my personal must-haves from all these 2-packs, and that is Doctor Doom and Captain Marvel from Secret Wars. Oh, I love this Doctor Doom. And the Captain Marvel's actually really good, too, if she just had better arm articulation. Like, the sculpt and everything looks great for that classic kind of Monica Rambeau look for Captain Marvel. I just wish they would have gone with the more modern articulation for the arms with the double joints and the bicep swivels. Other than that, it's a great 2-pack. I think it's a must-have. Then we get the Thor 2-pack here with the Thor and the what you call this thing? The Asgardian. It's basically a Sentinel. But anyway, I'll put it as solid. I passed on it, to be honest with you guys, but I'll put it as solid. Okay, turd time right here. Get another turd here. Okay, yes. This dude right here. Look, this is a redo of a 12-inch Captain America figure that came out, I don't even know how long ago now at this point, 10 years ago maybe, which I have. That Captain America figure is great. Absorbing Man, or Absorbing, whatever this guy's name is. Why am I blanking on everybody's name today? I don't know. But this is what happens when you just decide to just do a video with no planning whatsoever. Anyway, this thing is a turd. It looks stupid. I get they wanted to reuse that figure that they had and, you know, give it a couple little extra details, but that is not what the character looks like at all. And it was just dumb. And then they were trying to sell it for like $70. It's ridiculous. All right. We're gonna go with a pass here on the Russian mob guys here from Hawkeye. You know, they're fine. They're army builders, but whatever. It didn't do anything for me, really, to be honest. Then we get our 2-pack Deadpool and Bob. Hydra Bob. That's a must-have. Come on, that is a great 2-pack. That Deadpool is great. Build on the Spider-Man Renew Your Vows buck. Perfect buck for Deadpool. Not a perfect buck for Spider-Man, by the way. Way better buck for Deadpool than it is Spider-Man. And absolutely fantastic. Always good to have a good addition of Bob. Then we have this guy, Eyeball Man. I don't even remember his name. He's a Ghost Rider enemy from like the 70s and 80s. He's a Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider enemy. I don't remember this dude's name. He's dressed up like Evel Knievel with a giant eye, and I'm blanking completely on who he is, but it's an easy pass. I'm going to be honest. Then we get Don't Already Have again. All these re-releases are going to be Don't Already Have, right? Like if you don't already have, well, actually, you know what? I'm not even going to say that. This Bruce Banner is a turd. No, it's not even Don't Already Have. It's a turd. It's a turd. But the Thor Dark World, which I believe that's the one that is, that's the Thor Dark World re-release right there. That one is good. It's a good figure, and if you don't already have it, it's worth getting. All right, Midnight Suns Iron Man. I think this is a solid figure. I think it looks cool. It's not comic book, but, you know, it is cool. Same thing with Hulk from Ragnarok here. Not a must-have. Not a must-have, because there are better versions of this out there. I prefer the Marvel Select Gladiator Hulk myself, and I get it. Difference between movie and comic book, all that kind of stuff, whatever. But it's solid. It is a solid figure. Wanda from one of the many. This one's probably, I think this one's from Multiverse of Madness or WandaVision or whatever. Like, look, it's a decent figure. If you like the MCU stuff, then I'll say, if you don't already have it, because there are many versions of Wanda out there, sure, you can get this one, but that's really the only reason to get it, is A, if you like the MCU stuff, and B, you don't already have a version of Wanda. All right, Black Widow, obviously this is a must-have. The new Target released Black Widow, great articulation for a female figure, great sculpt, great paint, pretty much across the board, it's a perfect figure. All right, Moon Knight. Don't already have a Moon Knight? This is a good one to get. It's a re-release, but it's a solid figure. I like it quite a bit, and a lot of people didn't have this version of Moon Knight. This is a great one to go ahead and pick up. Spider-Man. Oh, you know what? I'm throwing this one up with must-have. It's a great figure. In fact, I'll throw both versions. I know there's two versions of that one out there. We're going to throw both of them up there into must-have. That original Ditko era Spider-Man. Like, yeah, that original black and red costume. That's a must-have. Hawkeye on his little sky cycle there. I'm going to put it at solid. It's got some downsides. And to be honest, I did pass on that one, but still, I think it was decent. This Luke Cage is a turd. I'm sorry. That Luke Cage is a horrible figure. Like, I get it's got the classic look. It's also got like some of the worst articulation in a modern figure. Then we also get to Blade. I think this Blade is a solid figure. I like this one a lot. I did do a little kit bashing to mine, but I like it quite a bit. The other one from that one, what is this? I don't even remember this chick's name. I passed on her. So I feel like I should put her under pass, but I know some of you guys are going to like this character that I'm completely name blanking on. This figure didn't impress me at all. And I didn't even care enough about the Build-A-Figure to try and finish this Build-A-Figure. So yeah, I'm going to put that one at a pass here. I do like the Daredevil a lot. I would not say that it's a must-have, but I think it's solid. I think it's a solid build. You get the kind of bearded Daredevil there with his baggy pants, a little bit more of the ninja look. Goes great with that must-have Elektra figure right here. So I'm going to put that one at solid. Let's see, what else do we have here? So many figures, and half of these, I'm blanking on the names for half of them, but whatever. All right, so Spider-Man, we got Spider-Man right here. This is Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. Like I said, I'm putting these up in must-have because I put the 3-pack in must-have. These also come with the unmasked heads, so those have to be in must-have as well. We're going to go ahead and grab the other two and put them up in must-have. Wow, this list is getting really, really long. The other two Spider-Man from that same era there, same movie. We're going to move those all the way up as I scroll up to must-have. I think those three, whether you get them individually or whether you're giving them in a 3-pack. Actually, you know what? I'm going to change something here. No, this one, the Tom Holland one, is not a must-have. It's not, because there's so many versions of Tom Holland out there. Wait, no, that's Final Swing Suit. Never mind. Putting it back up here. See, we're going back and forth. I'm forgetting here that this 3-pack came with a reissue, whereas this is the Final Swing Suit, which, by the way, is absolutely a must-have. It's a great figure. All right, Mary Jane from those movies, turd. Matt Murdock from those movies, turd. This Sandman from those movies, turd. Captain Marvel, turd. Let's pull some more turds out of here. How about that? Let's go through. Oh, this dude from the X-Men, what is his name? I'm gonna put him at turd. I'm sorry. I don't even know who the character is, and the figure's not even good, and I just don't care across the board. So that one's gonna go straight into turd too. Mantis. I'll be nice to Mantis. I'll say pass. It's not a turd of a figure. I don't know anybody that cared about a Mantis figure. So we're going to go with a pass there. I'm going to say the same thing for Kamala Khan. If you're into the MCU stuff, I can make the argument that it's solid, but I'm not. So this is my list. We're going to go with a pass there on that one right there. All right, now we get to... Oh, God, I'm blanking on her name, too. Ninja Woman here from this same wave as the Blade and the Daredevil, which I like. I think it's a solid figure. I don't even remember who this character is. I don't remember ever seeing her in the comics, at least not looking like that, so I don't know who she is, but it is a solid figure, right? Then we get our Foot Clan, no, excuse me, Hand Clan Ninja. That's a great figure. It really is. It's not must-have, but it's definitely solid. All right, I'm going to put this guy at must-have. This Spider-Man No Way Home Norman Osborn is a fantastic figure. I mean, I would say in many ways for a couple of generations, it's the quintessential look for Green Goblin. At least if you take off the additional stuff there and do the head swap where you actually have the Goblin armored head without the Willem Dafoe head, which, by the way, the Willem Dafoe head is great. It's spot on. In fact, this thing right here is better than the SH Figuarts version, which cost about $70 more than this one. And this is actually a better figure, like pretty much across the board. So, which is impressive for Marvel Legends. All right, Adam Warlock from Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I'm gonna give it a pass. Like I was not impressed. While I love Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I was not impressed with that version of Adam Warlock. Looked great for the MCU version, but nothing about the character really made me give a crap about him. So I'm going to say pass, because I'm not really that big into the MCU figures anyway, and that character didn't make me care about him, so we're going to go with a pass. I'm going to say the same thing for Nebula. Kind of a pass. Yeah, it's nice to see Nebula in her Guardians of the Galaxy costume, but just, yeah, not really doing it for me. And then same thing with good old what's-his-face, James Gunn's brother there. Yeah, not really doing it for me. Don't care about your action figure. Sorry, bro. Drax, you know what? I'm going to give Drax a boost here. I think Drax from that same movie was a solid figure. I think the Drax figure was solid, and I'll also go ahead and say that and where is he here? He was just here somewhere. Yes, the Star-Lord figure from that movie was also a solid figure. I think those two out of that wave were two great looks for those characters, and the figures were good enough that even though I don't collect a lot of MCU figures, I liked getting both of those. So we're going to put those into the solid category. Then we have, I don't know, Cyber Spider-Man. Oh, this one's so hard. I'm going to give it a pass. I didn't pick this one up. Like, the figure itself is okay. And there's a lot going on there. I mean, like, as a figure, I guess it's solid. But nobody cares about that character. There's rumors that they cut out a lot of scenes that character was going to be in. And I know then there was the whole thing of like, well, actually, it's a woman in that costume. And I'm like, well, that woman is built like the Hulk, but okay. So I know there was controversy with that. I just don't care about the character. Like, it's a good-looking action figure. I will give it that. And if I was just judging by that, I would put it in the solid category. But as a character, like, this thing went on clearance, too. Like, nobody wanted that thing. All right, Kraven. This is a much, much, much needed update to Kraven, and I do think is a must-have figure. That new retro card Kraven was a very, very good figure. And look, Kraven is one of those classic Spider-Man villains that you must have. I'm also going to do the same thing with Squadron Supreme here. I think I already put the other half of the Squadron Supreme 2-pack in there as must-haves. You got to have the other ones. There they are, right there. Boom, boom, boom. That's 4-year members for Squadron Supreme. Must have those guys right there. Commander Rogers. Steve Rogers is Captain America. Oh, this is hard for me because for me it's absolutely a must-have. However, I have to be fair and try and say, but I can reasonably look at it and see that it's not going to be a must-have for everybody, so I'm going to leave it at solid. But as a huge Captain America fan, this one was a must-have for me. Then we get to our Iron Man. This is the Iron Man Mark. I don't even remember anymore. What is this one with the extra details and stuff on the shoulders and the shoulder pads and the pointy mask? I don't remember all the Iron Man model numbers, but I do like this one a lot. I think it's a great looking figure. I definitely think it's solid. Not a must-have, but certainly not a pass. Then we get to our 2-packs for... We're going to bring both of them up. The 2-packs for the X-Men, or excuse me, the 3-packs for the X-Men. The 2 3-packs for the X-Men, if I could say that correctly. I think both are solid. I don't think they're must-have, though. Some of you guys will disagree. I get that. I don't think these, yellow-blue team colors are must-have. They were very, very, very rarely used in the comics. They made for some great covers occasionally in the comics, usually done by Jim Lee. But I don't think they're must-have looks for these characters, to be honest. I do like some of the head sculpts they used in these 2-packs. The Gambit head sculpt is great. The Banshee, all the head sculpts are great. They would just look better on more traditional costumes for these characters. Except for Forge, because he always had that costume. And that is a nice upgrade for Forge. All right. Who else? We got Rogue in her kind of Outback look. I'm going to say that's a solid figure. Miles Morales from the movie. I say this is solid. Some of you will disagree. That's fine. That's a solid figure. I liked that one a lot. That was one of my favorites that came out last year. I like this figure quite a bit. Just a good, standard, plain Miles Morales Spider-Man. It's appropriately sized. It's got decent articulation for what it is. Let's be honest, for what it is. I think it was good. All right. We're going to pass on the Peter B. Parker. I'm tired of Peter B. Parker coming with sweat clothes and stuff. Like, give me a Peter B. Parker dressed up and ready to go in the Spider-Man costume. Stop giving me this crap. I don't want a Spider-Man in sweatpants, okay? It's a pass. Blob. Oh, Blob. Look, I'm going to put Blob in must-have. Oh, I can't, though. I don't think it's must-have. That's the thing. I think the Build-A-Figure is a better Blob. I think Blob in your collection is a must-have, not necessarily this one. How about this? We're going to split the difference. I'm going to put it in don't already have. I say if you don't already have the original Build-A-Figure Blob, which I feel is better and a better representation of the Blob, because the Blob should be disgusting looking, and the first Build-A-Figure version is more disgusting looking. So I like it better. So I'll say if you don't already have that version, this is a must-have. However, if you already have the other version, I don't think it is. All right. Where are we at? Spot is a pass. I'm just going to throw it out there. Spot's a pass. Spider-Punk. I think Spider-Punk's a solid figure. We're going to put him in solid right next to Miles Morales. The Morbius Spider-Man with 6 arms 2-pack is a pass. It's not a turd, but it's certainly a pass. The West Coast Avengers 5-pack, I think, even though I passed on it, is solid. Like, a lot of these characters, if you don't already have Tigra and you don't already have, this Silver Centurion, Iron Man, like, this is a good 5-pack to get. If you already have those 2 figures, then the 5-pack's not quite worth as much. But again, going back to what I said at the beginning of the video, a lot of these figures, including this 5-pack, have been going on sale, so it's still worth it. Plus, you're getting a Hank Pym, who, by the way, makes for a great kit bash for for Professor X when he had his costume on. And you're getting some other characters. I'm gonna put it at solid. It's not a must-have, but it's definitely solid. Karnak's a pass. Sorry, Karnak's a pass. Maria Rambeau, I'm gonna put it as a pass. Like, she was the only decent character in that entire awful movie, The Marvels. But I'm just still not interested enough in the figure to say it's worth it. Rocket Raccoon, I think this Rocket is solid. But if you already have a Rocket Raccoon, is it necessary? All right, never mind. We're going to put it in don't already have. If you don't already have a Rocket Raccoon, MCU Rocket Raccoon, then get that one. If you do, it is a pass. All right. I'm going to put good old Spider-Man 2099 here as solid. That's a good figure, okay? That's a good figure. If you don't have it, I'm telling you right off the bat, it's a good figure. It looks perfect for representation from the movie. It's good, it's big, it's bulky, it looks badass. Again, that whole line does not have the greatest articulation for Spider-Man figures. That is the downside. So maybe for some of y'all guys, it's a pass for that reason alone. For me, it wasn't, so we're going to leave it there. I'm going to say the same thing for Spider-Gwen here. I think it's a solid figure. Although, you know what? You know what? I'm changing this one. I'm going to put this in Don't Already Have. Because unlike this Miles Morales here, where this is actually a significant enough difference between the one from the first movie to this one that it's a solid figure. This one's not a big enough difference between the Gwen from Into the Spider-Verse to the other Spider-Verse movie. I don't remember whatever the name of that one is. Across the Spider-Verse. There's not a big enough difference between the two figures. If you already have the first one from the first movie, you don't need to get another one. All right. Then we get into our Joe Fix-It Hulk. Joe Fix-It Hulk. The only question here is he solid or is he must-have? And you know what? I'm going to give him must-have. It's Joe Fix-It. Yep, it's must-have. It's an iconic representation of the Hulk. Yeah, we're going to put that there. All right. Then we get our actual original Guardians of the Galaxy. What's his face here? Mohawk Man. Why am I blanking on so many names today, ladies and gentlemen? I'm really screwing this one up. That's okay. That's okay. That's what we do. I absolutely am a huge fan of the original, like, futuristic, year 3000, space version of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay, with those characters, with Martin X and Vance Astro and all those characters. That was one of my favorite comics back in the early 90s. And getting him, that version of him, not the MCU version, but that version of him, like, for me, it's a must-have. And I would think any comic book fans from the 90s would think the same thing, that that's a must-have character here. All right, Ronan. You know what? This is a really good version of Ronan. It's not perfect, but given the last version of Ronan we had, this becomes a must-have figure for your Marvel Legends collection because it's so vastly better than the last one that, and there just haven't been, we've had 2 Ronan figures outside of the MCU stuff. So, all right. So then we've got Smythe and Peter Parker. I'm gonna be honest, that's a pass for me. It really is. Like, I don't care about a regular Peter Parker figure. Those things are so easy to kit bash. Like, who cares? You don't need to go buy a Peter Parker figure. You can kit bash a clearanced out Stan Lee figure with one of your many, I'm sure, extra Peter Parker heads that are sitting in a box somewhere in your collection. So it's not a big deal. And Smythe, for me, I know who he is. I read those stories. I just don't care. All right. Venom Space Knight 2-pack with Venom and what's-her-face. I have this 2-pack, and I do think it's solid. However, I got to be honest. Like, I bought it only because it was on sale. And other than that, I passed. And while both figures are great, the Space Knight Venom has already come out, technically. Should I put this at solid or put this at pass? You know what? I'm going to be honest. I'm going to leave it at pass. Like, I bought it, but I kind of think it's a pass. All right. X-Men 97 Wave. We saved this one for last because everybody went crazy after the show came out. All right. Here we go. The Bishop. The Bishop is a solid figure. Not a must-have, but a solid figure. The Gambit is a solid figure. Not a must-have, but a solid figure. The Magneto is a solid figure. It's not a must-have, and honestly, the Buck's too small for Magneto, but I did pick this one up, and I still like it, and I think it's solid. The Rogue. The Rogue, I'm going to be honest with you guys, if you don't already have a Rogue, sure, get this one. It's got a great head sculpt, but other than that, previous Rogues, in my opinion, a little bit better. Storm. I'm going to say the same thing with Storm. It's a good head sculpt, I guess. If you don't already have a kind of a Jim Lee era, 90s era Storm, which there have been a couple already, sure, pick this one up, but I don't think that one's a must-have. And then we get to Wolverine in his classic blue and yellow. Is it a must-have? No, I don't think it is. I think it's solid. And I would border on saying, if you don't have the previous version, get this one. And this one does have a really good Logan head sculpt, which I like a lot. Better than the last one, in my opinion. And there's an argument to be made that even the masked head sculpt is slightly better. But the paint and deco and everything on the previous yellow and blue Wolverine, I think, is vastly superior. So it really comes down to taste. So we're just going to leave it at solid. I'm not going to say don't already have, and I can't put it at must have. So we're going to leave that one at solid. So that is it. Oh my God, we got through all 137 of these. Look at this. So how many do we have here in must-haves? So the must-haves, we've got 30. 30 must-have Marvel Legends figures came out last year. Let's just go through those real quick. Bucky Cap, the Stripe 5-pack, the Black Knight Circe 2-pack, Longshot, Spiral, Spider-Man 3-pack, although you could also replace that with these three here, whichever you want. The Hydra Shield 2-pack, the Daredevil Elektra, Molecule Man, Baron Von Strucker, Ultimate Captain America, Kraven, MCU/Raimiverse Green Goblin. We've got our old school Ditko era first appearance Spider-Man, Black Widow, Super Articulated, Deadpool, Hydra Bob. We've got the 2-pack Miss Marvel and Doctor Doom from Secret Wars. We've got our 2-pack Super Skrull and Skrull Spider-Woman. We've got both of our Squadron Supreme 2-packs. We've got Joe Fixit. We've got dude who I keep blanking on his name for some stupid reason from Guardians of the Galaxy and Ronin. Those are your must-haves from last year. And your turds, we're just going to go straight to the turds. It's mostly MCU stuff, I'm going to be honest. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 out of the 14 are MCU because they're crap. They're crap figures. And then, of course, we've got Super Adaptoid here. Hey, look, I finally remembered his name. Luke Cage there in just a crappy version. And then we've got Captain Marvel and this dude right here. So it's a big spread here. I would love to hear what you guys think. What are your must-haves and what are your absolute turds? Those are the two categories people care about the most. What are your must-haves? What are your absolute turds? Leave that in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for spending God knows how long watching this video with me, having a little fun. I truly appreciate it. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, and every one of my videos saying this, always remember to enjoy your collection.